Hello guys and welcome back to Urge. Alex Jameson here again with our extended subclass series. We're going to finish out the Rogue with the Arcane Trickster, the technically a 1/3 caster class, and this uses the Wizard spellcasting modifier of Intelligence and the score saving throw as well, and the Wizard spell list for the spells you can learn. The biggest challenge I think up front for this class is, as a Rogue, you would have no need for Intelligence. Yep. Unless you take this subclass, so it becomes a interesting balance where you spend your ability score improvements. But with Rogue, you do get some extra ones that some other classes don't get. So you could have both those stats capped sooner than other people would have two stats capped, which is hard to say over and over, by the way. But anyway, so we'll get started. First ability you get level 3 if you take Arcane Trickster is Mage Hand Ledger Domain, which is like. Took me 17 tries to read that word correctly earlier. It really did. So all it's going to do is give you more and more uses for your mage hand. Essentially doing things a rogue could normally do, but being able to do them at range and very sneakily at that. So you can stow an object, being holding in a container. You can retrieve something, so you can pickpocket somebody. You can use thieves' tools to arm and disarm traps and locks and things, which is, to me, the best part of it is you're like, okay, it's like you're dungeon crawling or whatever, and you're like, okay, we haven't seen a trap in like 2 hours, guys. There's one door in the entire room.
In the entire dungeon, one room.
It's like,
max range mage hand?
It's like everybody in this corner, I'm going to pick it from halfway across the room. Which is really, really great. And you can, even at range, you can make a sleight of hand check to try to do any of these actions stealthily. And you can even use the bonus action to control the hand, even if you want to do it in combat, which is, there's a reason for that later on. Why you're thinking early on it was kind of useless, but later on it kind of gives you that reason for that.
And then you have to wait 6 levels until level 9 to get your next ability, which is Magical Ambush. If you're hidden from a creature and you cast a spell on it, the creature has disadvantage on the saving throw to make against the spell. So this could be a really interesting use of this depending on how you use it. It could have combat and even RP uses for it depending on how you want to go about using it, because it doesn't have any context for combat specifically. So for example, you're hiding and you see somebody and you're like, charmed person. They have a disadvantage because they didn't see you. Or if you're in combat, you could do, if you're high enough level, in this case level 13, you could be like, hide, fireball. Disadvantage. Pretty good.
Yes.
And then 4 levels later, level 13, you have Versatile Trickster. Basically, you can use your mage hand to distract targets. It says, as a bonus action, you can designate a creature within 5 feet of the spectral hand created by the spell. Doing so gives you advantage on attack rolls against the creature until end of turn. So you can strategically move around the hand to be like, hey you! I don't know. You could like talk
Your
with it,
mother was a hamster and your father smelled of elderberries.
And then shoot it with a crossbow and get advantage sneak attack. So there's that.
Yes. So overall, it's simple but very useful for
disadvantage on saves, advantage on attacks.
Yes.
There you go.
Very good. Then of course your big stick is Spell Thief, which is complicated. Could be, I think, some niche use, but could be very, very good. Level 17, immediately after the creature casts a spell that targets you or includes you in the area of the effect, which I think is very important that it gives you both options. You force the spellcaster to make a DC, a saving throw using their spellcasting modifiers. They're essentially their ability to control their own magic, more or less. And the DC equals your spell save DC as an Arcane Trickster. If they fail to save, you negate the spell's effect on you. It's not like reduced damage or whatever. Like, it's just gone. Whether if it's an AoE damage or a spell attack against you, it just does nothing.
To you.
It
still hits everybody else.
Right, yeah. Everybody throws Fireball at you. We know is like our go-to spell for AoE examples, but it just is. Because Fireball. It does nothing to you. It still hurts everybody else in your party that's in range of that, but it does nothing to you. But it is called Spell Thief, not Spell Negate. You then steal the knowledge of that spell, as long as it's at least a first level spell, and a level that you can cast. For the next 8 hours, you know that spell and can cast it using your spell slots. So you say, no, that spell's now mine, and put it in your pocket, and for the next 8 hours you can cast it yourself. And the other cool thing is, the creature that cast it also can't recast the same spell for those same 8 hours. So if you're fighting something that's got fighting a spellcaster in a party, and he wants to counter spell one of yours or one of your other spellcasters, then you can just take his counter spell and be like, no.
Yeah.
Assuming he fails the save.
Yes.
Which is going to matter. But
also, the biggest downside to this is it has to be a spell level that you can cast. So at level 17, you can only cast 3rd level spells.
Right.
So you can't be like, Finger of Death. Nope.
Like you can't do that.
Not
but like I said, the first one that pops into my head, like I said, is counterspell.
Counterspell.
Like and stuff like Fireball, and even lower abilities that are really really good spells. Stuff like Hold Person.
Yeah.
Is a really good one to be able to take from somebody just so they can't cast it. And does it seem like
something like Fly could really like someone's like Escape Fly like oh,
nope. Yeah. So
I fly.
There's some like it's a very very niche use, but could be like either counter saving or counter changing for sure.
Yeah.
But it's very interesting to say the least. Is the right word for it. So we'll move over to the rating portion of this, and again, this is kind of how we think the subclass builds on, adds to, further diversifies the base class, not just the raw ability of how good the class is.
Yeah.
Because up front, I think the conversation we had was what really limits this subclass is just the number of spells you get. It's just not enough. This could be a really, really, really good subclass if they just had more spell slots and more spells known, especially the spell slots. I think is the bigger issue there. But beside the point, starting off with combat, gave it a 3.5. It does add, the magical ambush, versatile trickster, giving the disadvantage on saving throws if you're hidden. Once again, if you're hidden, and giving advantage on attack rolls if you can distract them, which is more likely to happen because you can use your mage hand and be like, hey, and make that work. And of course, Spell Thief is really, really cool, but you're not going to get Finger of Death. You're not going to get some crazy spell cancel. It's going to be most likely either a low damage spell or a CC spell.
It's very situational, and again, the way that the spell slots increase is very awkward.
Yeah,
like you only have 3 spell slots of first level until level 7.
Yeah, 7. Yeah, through 6.
And then you gain more. Then you gain. You have 6 spell slots for level 1, 2 level 2. Until level 10, and you gain 1. Like you just at level 20, you have 4 first level, 3 second level, third level, and 1 fourth level. At level 20, okay, you have 1 fourth level spell.
Yeah, that's it.
So that's assuming you take all of these points in this class. So the abilities are really cool. Part of the balance comes into factor with the ability to have disadvantage on their saves.
Right.
I think that's partially why they didn't give too many big spells, because that can be huge. It can be huge to break like Feeble Mind, or like you just completely destroy some dominate monster with disadvantage. Like that would be just ridiculous.
Holy cow, yeah.
So 3.5. It's really cool combat wise, but very limited and niche use of how you do the abilities.
Yeah. And becomes very limited in the higher end stuff and what you can access to magic wise.
And then on the RP side as well, there's some really cool things you can do with your mage hand at level 3 with all the extra abilities and stuff. Even Versatile Trickster, it's kind of an RP thing, like you're distracting people, but if you're going to be distracting people, it's going to be more for combat because you're getting advantage. You could distract someone and then shoot him with a spell, but I mean you're like starting combat, so it's kind of like a combat based anyway.
Yeah.
So it's definitely more combat sided. But we just went ahead and gave it a 3.5 for the RP side as well, just because I mean you can already, like, even if you're a wizard with Mage Hand, you can do some RP with Mage Hand. This just gives you a little bit extra.
Yeah.
And I mean Spell Thief is really combat based. Versatile Trickster is combat based. Magical Ambush you could maybe do RP, like I explained earlier. If you're trying to cast like Charm Person or Hold Person or something from hiding, that's kind of like niche RP use, but the Mage Hand level 3 thing is pretty RP.
Yeah,
so
that's your big RP.
Again, limited by some of the abilities a little bit. I mean, you could maybe make arguments, maybe give it a 4 possibly. We kind of discussed it for a little while on and off about it, but it's like, it's just very niche. Like the way that it's just so situational, it's like, rather go with a 3.5 on that.
And finally, with the synergy, just like kind of with our previous video on the Assassin, we decided to keep the numbers consistent and go with a 3.5 on synergy as well. And originally, I thought we were going to go lower than I looked. We'll say Mage Hand does help you do other rogue type RP stuff with pickpocket, picking locks, and things like that. So that lets you do that at range stealthily. Yeah. So it definitely helps your RP value there, building on what the base rogue is good at. And combat wise, being able to get advantage on your own sneak attack with Versatile Trickster, either at range or technically even within melee range. If you have a little floating hand, you like smack somebody in the face, like, hey, over here. So there's definitely some help there, but the main thing, it doesn't do anything with sneak attack.
Yeah, I mean, you get the Versatile Trickster, but it's not until level 13.
Yeah, that's the only, there's no extra damage.
That's maybe what's keeping it from being a 4 is it's so late to get it. Because, I mean, other classes, you're getting advantage. You're getting auto crit advantage at level 3.
Yeah.
You know, level 13, you can get advantage. It's like...
Yeah, another way to get advantage.
Come on.
Yeah, it's the late game, and the fact, the Arcane Trickster is just not what a rogue does normally, as far as just the base theme of the rogue. The other two, Thief and Assassin, fit. Like, Thief is the RP rogue, Assassin is the combat rogue, just in pure name, let alone what the abilities do. Arcane Trickster is like, okay, just on name alone. But so 3.5. But the one thing I do want to mention is we had a quick conversation. Like, if you wanted to build the most quirky, difficult character to understand, do Arcane Trickster and multi-class into Warlock.
Yep. Then you get
we don't have the time of the day to figure all that out. But if you want to like watch your DM do.
Yeah,
that phase 47 times.
Some mental gymnastics to understand other things going on there with the, like, for example, if you're level 7, if you're like 7 and 7, you have first level and second level, but then if you have 7 in Warlock, you have 2 4th levels, so you don't have a 3rd level, but you have a 4th level.
You cast level 3, you get level 4, and you get 2 spells back.
Short rest, you get 2 spells. It's crazy. It would be probably a lot of fun to play. It wouldn't be optimal probably, but it would be crazy and hilarious and amazing to try. So maybe that's something you look into. Yeah. If you're looking to do something a little bit quirkier that's very out there, that could be a lot of fun, I think.
Yeah. 3.5 across the board for Arcane Trickster. A very cool class by idea, by design. But really the lack of spell slots is really what limits the subclass from being better and more complete, I think, more than anything else.
Yeah, definitely. If you guys have any experience playing with an Arcane Trickster or thoughts about it or whatever, if there's anything you want to hear from us, let us know in the comments down below. Make sure you check out our new podcast that we're starting, which is Roleforge.
The third chair is back again. Caleb is back for the podcast.
If there's anything else you want to see from us, guys, please let us know in the comments down below. Yeah. Remember to like, subscribe if you enjoyed the video, hit the bell notification so you know when our new videos come out. And as always, guys, thanks for watching.